In a world of changing progress, sometimes the answers lies in the root. And as our ancient text says, Dharma Rakshati Rakshit, which means Dharma protects those who protects it. Hello and welcome to yet another episode. This is your host Shifta Khan and you are watching Story Makers. Today we have someone who's a blend of faith, wisdom and balance, Dr. Manu Singh. He's an environmentalist and a social activist and also the chairman of Sarva Dharma Samvaad. He's been working tirelessly in the field of interfaith and eco-field. Let's welcome him on our episode today and make the most of the conversation. Please welcome Dr. Manu Singh. Hello and welcome, sir.
Hi.
Please tell us a little about your journey.
My journey. I generally don't look at things like my journey or my story. I have a different take on it because I believe that we all are mere instruments. Whatever the divine force wants us to be, we be that. And all this, I connect all this, my story, my journey to an extension of ego. So I believe I am doing right now what I'm being ordered to do.
Oh, what's written in your destiny is what you're trying to say.
Exactly. And I have scientific evidence for that.
Okay. We will talk about science in the coming time, definitely.
Yes. So I'll give you my evidence. Okay. I believe, see, I'll look at it. See, when a man is in the process of making love, at the time of ejaculation, he can ejaculate more than 200 to 300 million sperms.
Correct.
That's enough to impregnate all the ovulating women on the planet. All of them. But it's just one particular one that became Manu Singh. And then I now say this is my journey. This is my destiny. This is my story. No. I'm merely an instrument and I'm just following his command. That's how I look at it.
So where did your journey started from? Who was Manu before being Dr. Manu?
Well, I was born in Devbhumi, Uttarakhand.
Oh, that's a beautiful place to live in.
Definitely. And I hope that we keep it as beautiful as it was.
Absolutely right.
I wish for that because currently what's happening is against its beauty. I was born there. I did my schooling from Dehradun. I did my higher education from the prestigious Jawaharlal Nehru University.
Oh, JNU.
Yes, I tried to work with a corporate life for some time, but eventually I came into social work, which was my calling, and specifically socio-spiritual activism.
Okay.
So I now identify myself as an eco-spiritualist.
Or maybe a spiritual leader.
Not leader, still a student, but yeah.
Learning.
Yeah, learning. The process is always there. Yes.
So how did Sarva Dharma Samvaad came into being?
So initially there was a organization called Sarva Dharma Sansad, which is Parliament of all religions.
Okay. So you were a part of it initially?
Yes. I was the second convener of that organization.
Okay.
And it was a big organization. But I found that somehow we were just addressing those goody things in conferences.
Well, let's talk about जो सबको सुनना है हम वो बोल रहे थे जनता को.
Exactly. So I saw that.
Pleasing to ears and eyes.
Yes, I mean in interfaith conferences generally this happens. You call people of different, generally leaders of different faiths and denominations, and they come and they just talk about the good stuff of their religion. It's very easy, very convenient.
Of course.
But nothing changes on ground.
Convenience is the word.
Yes, exactly. So I'm not against that. That is required in this day and age. But I wanted to go a step ahead. So I wanted youth to be a part of it. And an organization that uses faith in action for social amelioration. So yes, that's what my viewpoint was. And I wanted youth of different religions to mingle with each other and ask the questions they generally can't ask of religious leaders. So the inconvenient questions.
Inconvenient questions for someone who was not ready to hear what the youth was trying to convey to the people, was a loophole that you actually diagnosed then, and then eventually Sarva Dharma Samvaad came into being.
Yeah, that was also a loophole, but also I found that, and this might sound controversial, that most of the religious leaders, I'll not name any,
Okay.
they have two different set of speeches ready. One for an interfaith conference in which they'll say good stuff about their religion and how their religion is very secular, very liberal,
Yes,
very open,
yes.
and everyone
All
can
the
join.
good stuff.
Yeah. And then another orthodox, slightly communal approach where then they have to preach to their own sheep. So this was the divide, and I'm not trying to expose anyone's hypocrisy here. It was my own hypocrisy too. I used to do that too. But this was the divide that I thought would never be helpful.
Okay.
Like, it would always be an impediment in the path of, say, an egalitarian, socially cohesive society. It will always be an impediment. And that's why I wanted this movement of interfaith to be by the youth, for the youth, and of course with the youth.
Okay, I'm sure this has come over the period of time in your journey, in your learning. And how has Arya Samaj, actually evolved you to the person that you are right now? कुछ learnings के बारे में बात करते हैं, कुछ beliefs के बारे में बात करते हैं, कुछ teachings के बारे में बात करते हैं जो आर्य समाज ने, I'm sure आपको सिखाया होगा for the people of their society.
I was blessed to be born to parents who were Arya Samajis. Blessed.
Oh, wow.
Because this spirit of inquiry, this spirit of debate, of discussion,
has come from Arya Samaj?
Exactly. You are not allowed to just believe whatever the society is telling you, whatever your parents are telling you.
Correct.
You must question it. There should be a spirit of inquiry.
Of why, how, and
exactly. If someone just tells me that there is a God who's controlling everything and judging us all the time,
right,
I shouldn't be believing that outright. I must question it with logic, with scientific temper, and of course with my own experience. And then I should be allowed to establish my own worldview. And that's where Arya Samaj played a key role. So this having this sense of spirit of inquiry, this constant samvaad, and why I do not want to convert it into an English word, because I think some of the English terms do injustice.
Yeah.
To Hindi or Sanskrit.
Meaning,
yeah, of course, it gets lost.
Word.
Like word samvaad is not dialogue. It's something more than dialogue.
There's a deeper meaning to it.
Yes, vaad means interaction, conversation.
Yes, conversation.
And sam means
everyone.
Samta.
Everyone.
No, equanimity.
No? Okay, it is not equalization.
Nope. See, that's why it gets
again the English has played its role. Okay.
Samata is a meditative term.
Achha.
So I will be in samvad with you when I will be in antarvad first. I have to see that I am in samta and I am capable of engaging in a dialogue.
So, but what is that one thing people don't know about Arya Samaj? ऐसे क्या छिपा रह गया आर्य समाज के बारे में that people still should know and should follow?
I think people don't know anything about Arya Samaj these days. Arya Samaj has
that's
been
interesting to know.
Yeah, Arya Samaj has been reduced to an organization that is helping people getting married. It is an organization that is
an easy pleaser to the society.
And also doing havanas and yagyas. That's not what Arya Samaj is.
Correct.
Arya Samaj, the Sansthapak or the founder of Arya Samaj, he gave the clarion call that go back to the Vedas. Go back to the original wisdom that brought this scientific Sanatan culture into existence. It is not a religion or it is not a faith, or it is far more different. It is basically scientific tenets and rituals that have woven together a culture, a perilous culture that has given thoughts that are far more liberal than any other culture you'll see in the world. Any other, and once you start practicing these Vedic truths, once you start just realizing what these truths are, women empowerment, for example. I'll give you an example. There are several others, but I pick women empowerment. In any other culture, have you seen women at forefront? Any other?
Women have?
At the forefront of a religious?
Forefront, okay.
Anywhere. Have you seen, we just anointed the new Pope. Have you seen a woman Pope? There are 36 women who have written the Vedas.
Oh.
Gargi, Maitri, Apala, 36 of them. And there are goddesses. We worship the masculine and we worship the feminine. And this divide can only be cleared. And not only mythologically,
Yes.
historically. When the greatest debate of this land happened,
Women was a part of it.
she was the judge.
She was the judge, correct.
Yeah. Ubhaya Bharti was a judge.
She was at the forefront.
Yes, she was. Both Shankaracharya agreed that she should be the judge. And Mandan Mishra, her husband.
Right.
Because she had better knowledge, better information, better understanding of the scriptures.
Yes.
So I believe that this is what people are missing in their lives. They look at Hinduism or any other religion for that matter. I am just commenting because I practice Hinduism, but they look at just the ritual part of a religion, which is not even 2% of a religion.
And you're talking about the spiritual
I'm talking about the spiritual part, which encompasses everything, which is based on truth, love, compassion, justice, non-violence, equality, equanimity.
Yeah.
These are the basic tenets. And we don't want to talk about that.
Because it is easy.
It is convenient.
Yes.
Yes. And since I am into an interfaith, look at any religion, look at Islam for that matter. Everyone knows that story that when Prophet used to tread the road, there was one lady who used to throw garbage on him.
Yes, on him, correct.
Right. And one day when she didn't throw, she was unwell.
Yes.
He went up to see her.
What has happened?
With a casket of fruits.
Yes.
And what are his disciples doing?
A completely opposite of what was told.
Exactly. So if somebody is questioning your faith, go with a casket of fruits and converse, dialogue, samvad. That is what needs to be done.
Like what you just mentioned, is terrorism written in any religion to practice? No, right?
I don't think terrorism is written in any place. But
No religion, no place.
No place, no religion, no ideology that comes from a seed of wisdom can propagate or promote terrorism. But just like we say that there is an Allah ka Islam and there is a Mullah ka Islam, religion is also an organization. It's an institution of business and it has been for a long time.
Oh, yes.
So for that business interest, people have created loopholes because we, the ordinary people, we do not follow the path of knowledge and spirit of inquiry.
Yeah.
We get busy with our mundane lives and get disconnected from the reality, the knowledge, and that is why it's easy to brainwash us.
We actually practice what is easy and convenient for us. And लोगों को बताना आसान हो, लोगों को करवाना आसान हो, बाकी जो लिखा है, what is written in the history, what is written in our actual religion book, we find it very difficult to practice because we have never learned to ever do it.
Of course, we haven't not learned it, nor we have shown the spirit to learn it.
And neither we are willing to learn it in the future.
We are told, go to a temple, pray, offer. And all your sins will be washed. Go to the Kumbh Mela, take a dip, everything is...
Which one is easy?
I mean, we are into this mode of getting things as soon as possible. Quickly.
Yeah.
Quick profits.
Yes.
Now, just for example, look at Ravan.
Correct.
He was the greatest Shiv Bhakt.
Yeah.
People offer milk to Shivling these days. Go to Mahakal, offer a flower, take their photos, post it online, showcasing how proud bhakts they are. Ravan offered his head and still was judged on his karma. तो एक कवि ने बहुत अच्छे से कहा है कि लंका ना बचा पाया शीश चढ़ाने वाला, किस घमंड में घूम रहा है दूध चढ़ाने वाला.
My goodness.
So we need to understand that finally it will be our knowledge and how we implement it into our daily lives, transform it into action based on our spiritual truths. That's where the judgment will come. Not how loudly we can pray.
Correct.
Not how loudly we can defend our concept of God. It's immaterial. What is important is your karma. And this whole philosophy, this whole Sanatan culture is based on that.
Correct. So यहाँ we have just talked about the cultures, spiritual leaders, how spirituality has been practiced over the period of time. But science is also a part of it.
Of course.
Science is actually a very important and a major part which people sometimes take into consideration, sometimes they leave it. What is your take on to this? Is science parallel to spirituality or what is it?
Okay, if spirituality is divorced from science, it's not spirituality.
So you mean to say that spirituality and science are the two sides of the same coin?
Married to each other, interwoven,
Married to
interconnected,
each other.
entangled. And if it's separate, I'm telling you straight away,
Okay.
if it's separate, and India has always had that culture that has always been scientific. The spirituality cannot be divorced from reality. That is why the spirit of inquiry, that is why the meditative living, and see, look at the examples here. The first time the West faces India,
Yeah.
1492 Columbus, 1498 Vasco da Gama. When Vasco da Gama reaches Cape of Good Hope, it's surrounded by stormy ocean. He stays there for 7 months because at that time, and this is all mentioned in the Portuguese journal, his ship was named San Maria, right? Biggest European ship at that time, biggest.
Okay.
He cannot cross Cape of Good Hope. He's stationed there for a long time. There are traders from Gujarat, Lothal. And Lothal has been a port since 3700 BC.
It's been a history.
3700 BC. Now, he mentions that these people offer him that they could take him with, they could take his small ship, which was the largest European ship, between their merchant vessels, and they did that. And he's named them Plavini, Dharini, Begini, which was 90 meters. His ship was 35 meters.
Oh.
And it was an ordinary merchant vessel. So the advancement, the spiritual advancement and the scientific advancement happened in this country side by side. They were never different.
Correct.
Look at Mahabharata for example. There's a war going on, and the most important meditative doctrine was narrated on the battlefield. Because that's what life is. Anyone can be calm and peaceful sitting on a mountaintop. But you have to be calm and peaceful in life, in action, when you are facing all kinds of adversities. And that's where Gita is. It teaches you how to be calm in a battlefield. So it's never divorced from scientific advancement. Not only this, is a very basic example that I've given. Very basic. Astronomy you take.
Okay.
Right? You'll be shocked to know that the closest star after the sun to Earth is Proxima Centaurea. It's 4.2 light years away. But when you look at it from a naked eye, you cannot determine that it is close or it is far, because it's a very feeble shining star.
Okay.
In Indian texts, penned down by Varamir Suryaketu, that star is called Mitra, or the closed one.
Okay.
Right? The most bright star is Sirius, or the dog star. It's not bright because it's huge. It's bright because there's methane in it, so it's really bright burning. And you look at it, you'll say that this is the largest star.
Right.
You know what it's called in our texts? Chala.
Oh.
Right? That it is confusing you. It's not the biggest.
Yeah.
Actual biggest star, Stephenson T2, which is bigger than even our galaxy. Right? That star is called Jyeshtha. In our texts, all this penned down by Varamir Suryaketu. It doesn't stop here astronomically. When you are getting married in South India, they still follow the ancient Vedic traditions. Bride and the groom, they offer water together
Right.
to a star that's called Arundhati Vashishta. One star has two names. And when the Britishers were documenting it, they made fun of it. They said, look at these Indians.
Yeah.
They are calling one star by two names. Only in 1930s, when we looked at it with a powerful telescope, we realized that it was not one star, but a twin star revolving system. Now, it doesn't get easier. It gets even more fascinating after this. A twin star revolving system is when one star stays stationary and the other star revolves around it. That's not a good analogy for marriage.
Okay.
If, say, my life is stationary and my wife's life is revolving around me, that's not a good analogy. Arundhati Vashishta is the only twin star revolving system discovered till now where both the stars are revolving around each other. So, perfect analogy for a married life.
So this is how science and spirituality comes into existence together.
Yes, and people these days make fun. Recently, you remember Kangana Ranaut had issued statement that MCU has copied stuff from Hindu texts, and a lot of people came out making fun. She was bang on. I mean, she didn't quote it. If you want, I can quote it.
But we'll keep that separate.
Because the story she should have mentioned, there are concepts of multiverse, there are concepts of quantum science, quantum entanglement, everything written in Vedic literature. Everything. And I know them word by word, story by story. That is why I said, if you want, I can quote it, but it will be a long one then.
Okay. You just mentioned it is so easy to be calm by sitting in the mountains and but while you come into your actual life, the actual story plays around and then it is important to see whether you are calm or you are just, handling around. By few examples, can you just mention about your life where you were to a point where, it was everything disturbing, everything so, tangling, nothing was working out for you, but still you remained calm and things actually worked out. We would love to know about that.
Yes. Several examples.
Oh, I was just about to say, there might be several. That's why you are taking time, which one to actually speak about.
Yeah, several examples, but my favorite ones are when I rescue wild animals.
Oh, so you are into wild animals also?
Yes. My most, because I am into protection of environment and nature, my bond with animals is, I think, closest to my heart.
But sir, itna sab kuch kaise like?
Itna sab kuch because...
From spirituality, now you are into activism also.
If you are spiritual,
you will be close to
ensure,
nature and close to animals.
Especially if you are following the spiritual path through the Sanatan traditions. Why? Because our whole life was divided into 4 ashrams. Okay. First was brahmacharya. The kids were sent into an ashram that was in the forest. Okay. Second one was grahasth. The only ashram that does not revolve around a forest or nature. But even in that ashram, it was emphasized that you have to protect nature. You should be away from crass materialism, crass consumerism, right? You have to practice apparigraha. Third ashram, vanaprastha. The name itself says prasthan, or going into the van, forest. Fourth ashram, sannyas, forest. So 3/4 of your life was with nature, in harmony with the nature. So it is impossible that you are into Sanatan principles and spirituality.
But you are away from nature.
And you are disconnected. It is impossible. So...
let's take some glances on your life journey.
Yeah. So when I rescue, especially rescuing a snake like cobra, sometimes with bare hands.
With your bare hands?
If you're not
calm. This is interesting.
Yeah. I've rescued more than 2,000 venomous snakes and released them back into their habitats, which has been, it saves human lives also, but more importantly, it saves lives of animals. It's a very common occurrence.
This is sounding to be very
risky, dangerous, perilous.
Scary,
Of course it is. And I think at that moment when the hood is in front of you,
what is that first thought that comes to your mind, Should I run away? Should I kill this animal? Or what to do? I mean, rescue karna, should be the third option.
Initially, when I started, it was fear, and I got frozen a lot. And then
Anyone would.
yeah, because and then unless you follow the meditative path, you will not be able to overcome this fear. And so not only with the cobra, with say a bull that's gone awry, with say a leopard or any other animal, if you are not calm, because your calmness reflects upon the animal.
Right.
You can stop a rampaging elephant if you're calm and you stand your ground. And
Is
it's
it
not only-
possible?
Of course, there are several wildlife experts who do that. I've still not done it, but I've done it on other species. I've tamed. In the lockdown, there was an incident where somebody had kept a pit bull and released it onto the roads and run away. The poor animal felt abandoned and then started attacking others. So I had to rescue it, and it was done pretty well. I told you initially
कभी
also, I
ये
don't.
thought mind में नहीं आता. It has never come to your mind that you should run away instead of rescuing them. Your life is also at danger.
बिल्कुल आता
They
है.
can be very, harmful to you. What about your
No.
family? If something gets happened to you, like
Anyone who says it कि thought नहीं आता है is lying.
is lying. Of course, how is it not possible?
Initial thought is always I'll get bitten today, I'll
मतलब
get
यार-
mauled today, I'll get envenomated today.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts यही होते हैं.
यार स्टूडियो में बैठ के तो हम बहुत आराम से कह सकते हैं. It is very easy to say that I have rescued that animal. It was so easy,
But yeah, initial thought हमेशा ही आता है. But eventually you will have to transcend those thoughts. You'll have to overcome them. And the only way you can do that is by being calm,
yeah,
by focusing on your sensations, your breathing, and trusting the process.
correct.
So, yeah, that is one thing that I was in human conflict also. I've tried to remain calm. I was part of a peace force that rescued 5 policemen from Bastar region
Okay.
from Naxalites. And I was very young, I think 28 years old back then. So even in that journey, although I was fiercely debating the Naxalites, I was exposing them in their lair where they were armed with guns. I questioned them, and I think I was the only person back then who put up actual photographs of Naxalites on my Facebook account.
Oh,
Actual. And I asked them that you talk about equality and you propagate that. That's a lie. There were kids holding weapons who were 8 years old. So,
no, this is a harsh truth. I
Yeah.
mean, what actually happens and what you actually show it on the web are two very different things.
yeah, you're right. And to remain calm in such perilous
Correct.
circumstances is
And
but
hence-
again, I'll say I'm blessed to be turned into an instrument of peace and dialogue and protecting environment. So I follow that path. Again, I can't really tell you how it happens, because I believe there's a force working who's
The Almighty
ensuring,
who's
yes.
actually guiding you, who's actually
Yes,
training
yes,
you.
yes,
And
yes.
आपने आते ही शुरुआत में बोला था कि there's that Almighty who's guiding you, who's actually
Exactly.
picking you from one situation to another, and He's the guiding force. Correct.
And I try and ensure that I keep this thought in mind always. I try to ensure. A lot of times pride takes over, ego takes over.
Yes,
I have done
very
this,
much possible,
I have done
right.
that. And then short things, but I'll try to ensure to come back. Every night I'll talk to myself, okay. Even now I'm having this podcast with you. I'll initially I think I spoke this very well. But then when I'll go back into a meditation at night, I was like, okay, that wasn't me. Even my thoughts are not mine,
I know.
right? If a heavy thing hits me on my head,
There's
all
always a
gone.
guiding force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am saying this, I am doing this because there is a larger force behind me, much greater in magnitude that we can imagine.
But
And that's why it's happening.
will you believe that we are the only ones who have corrupted our own culture, own spirituality path?
We as in Indians, everyone has.
Be it
Everyone
any
has.
religion, be it
Any
any
religion, because it's turned into an institutionalized religion.
It's all a business
Yeah,
now.
bring the kingdom of God on earth. That's what Bible said. Are we doing that? Bible has never asked you to convert people.
No one.
Never.
Never.
What is Islam? The first line, what does it say? Most merciful, most benevolent. And what are we doing? Does it say most violent? Similarly, Hinduism, Jainism, he gave up his own clothes and you're building statues of gold.
What a beautiful line you just said. He gave up his own clothes, but people are building statues of gold.
Yeah. Like Gautam Buddha, the kind of knowledge that Buddha gave is enough. You don't need to read any other book more. You just need to practice that middle path currently and you'll solve all the problems. Environmental problems, inequality, all kinds of equality, race, gender, any kind of inequality.
So the problem, actually lies in the practice. The day you start practicing it.
And understanding. You need to understand before you practice.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
You'll start understanding it and then you'll start practicing it. Half of your problems of your life
Gone.
will
Poof. Vanish.
vanish.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah.
So coming to an end, I mean, I don't want to do this, but it was such a lovely conversation with you. There was so much that we learned today. We got to know about you, about spirituality, about Arya Samaj. Talking about you, what is that message that you would like to give out in public to people who are practicing religion, be it any?
Okay, this is the time and age where India is propagating one particular thought.
Okay.
That is Vasudev Kutumbakam.
Okay.
I'd like to add something to that.
We'd love to hear that.
So Vasudev Kutumbakam means that the entire earth is our family. What we are doing is we are saying the entire human race is our family. I would like that we should, it's not saying Manushev Kutumbakam, it's saying Vasudev. Any living being on this planet is my family.
Yeah.
I am sharing the planet with that living being. And currently, because of our practices, because of our industries, particularly the livestock industry, we've ensured that 96% of the mammal weight on this planet currently is humans and the livestock we produce. 96%. All the other mammals, from giraffes to camels, from wolves to bears, from platypus to whales, from lions to tigers, from dogs to cats, in 4%. This is the biggest form of injustice. Let's not industrialize food. Let's not industrialize feelings. Let's care for all life forms, and that's my appeal to each and every single individual. Let's make Vasudev Kutumbakam actually what it is.
Beautifully, you have mentioned your life, your journey into a text, how people should actually follow. I say, do not follow religion, but follow humanity. I mean, actually, then one can make this world a better place to live in, and religion will be simplified into a simple language. You don't have to follow big text, big Vedas or scriptures mentioned in a religious book, but just simply follow humanity, take care of your neighbors. हमारे religion में बहुत अच्छे से बताया गया है कि ज़्यादा दूर मत जाओ, अपने पड़ोसियों का ध्यान रखो, and that way you can become a better human and the world again will be a better place to live in. So that was such a wonderful podcast that I got to have it with you, sir.
Thank you.
And definitely going to have another part 2 of this.
For sure.
Very soon. There is a lot to learn from you. And जाते जाते कुछ कहना चाहेंगे आप?
Well, मैंने कह ही दिया that we should care for everyone.
Yes.
Don't only look at the ritual part of your religion, but please delve into the spiritual truths, the spiritual tenets, and based on all religions base their spiritual tenets on truth, love, compassion, justice. Ensure there's truth, encourage scientific temper, ensure there's love. More than love, ensure there's compassion and justice. Justice is very important,
Very
otherwise
important.
there'll never be peace on this planet. That's it.
I
Thank
agree.
you.
Thank you so much. This was your host, Shefta Khan, and you were watching Story Makers.